Ah, here we are. Technical difficulties there, but here we are, and we're on YouTube because I don't know what happened. I guess we slipped through the cracks of the YouTube censorship. You know, however they do it there, but we are monetized again on YouTube, and
Shocking.
we can do super chats. We've never had a super chat in our life at Lions of Liberty since we've never been monetized when super chats have existed. So if you want to be the first super chat, we could you could
We could
pop
do
that
that.
cherry.
Well, we don't. We should definitely do a libertarians in living rooms drinking liquor, a celebration. We could even call it that, a celebration of monetization, and
Yeah.
and invite some people on. Get Stapleton on. He can talk. By the way, coincidence or not, that YouTube CEO Susan Wojnicki. Wojcicki? I don't know.
Sounds right to me.
It's a good Polish name. Wojcicki.
Sure.
I'm like at least a third Polish. I don't know how you'd possibly pronounce that. So anyway, she stepped down. Some other asshole stepping in her place though. But I don't know, coincidence or not, you be the judge. Maybe she was like on her way out. She's like, you know what? Those Lions of Liberty guys, we've been raking their asses over the coals since their inception with these YouTube strikes. On my way out, it's like when presidents pardon people on their way out. Good presidents, Trump didn't do shit, Obama didn't do shit, but I'm sure somewhere along the way somebody did something good. Susan Wojcicki stepped out of YouTube and said, on my way out, those Lions of Liberty boys, you give them their channel, you monetize that channel. Thanks, Susan.
I'm all for it. Actually, Trump did do some shit at the very end. He didn't do nearly enough of pardoning, nonviolent drug offenders, but he called
or Snowden or Assange or any number.
But essentially, it's kind of crazy. This was like a day or two before, his last day as president. He called in his daughter and Jared Kushner into his office and said, like, you can each give me 3 people to pardon, and like they had to get the paperwork together and do it. But and his daughter picked 3 legitimate, nonviolent drug offenders who should not be in prison. So
yeah,
good
awesome.
on her.
Well, plus, I think with Kim Kardashian too, he did some stuff, right? He had pardoned some people with her during the course of his administration. So, no, he did some good stuff. It would be funny if, hey, all right, Bird and Daylight.
Oh my goodness,
Matt McKinley,
super chat.
Oh,
Matt McKinley,
thank you, Matt.
Gets
Big
himself
shout out.
A free plug here for the podcast Burning Daylight.
Yeah, burnin with an apostrophe at the end. Yeah, a great podcast, by the way.
Fantastic podcast, and a very diverse podcast. There's a bunch of different shows that he does. Some where he's talking about the news, some where he's just bullshitting with other cowboys. Awesome show, entertaining to listen, even if you're not a cowboy yourself, which I think most of our listeners probably are not. But
I'd say the vast majority probably not cowboys. But I don't want to be the judge. You never know. Well, that is awesome. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, man, I have some interesting memes today. But before we get into the memes, I had told you to look into Chelsea Handler. And now I don't want to play Chelsea Handler's whole clip because I don't feel like I get instantly demonetized with copyright infringements. But did you look into it? Did you Google what she had said? And it was basically a Daily Show segment over the last couple of days. I think it was like Monday she did it.
Yeah, so I read about it. I mean, essentially, what it is, what I read about was what Tucker Carlson.
Tucker. I like to tickle my Tucker Carlson. It's like his Build-A-Bear buddy for the show. He should sell like the Trumpy bear. Tucker Carlson should have a Trumpy bear.
Oh my God,
we should invent
All
right, let's make it. I'm writing it down. We're making it.
So essentially, what he was talking shit on her for, her promoting this being perpetually single and being childless and this lifestyle. He was making fun of her for it, essentially, right? And she, shot back at him, saying, I forget what she said, but what are the other details of it?
Well, basically, that's what it was. Is she made this whole video, which it was. Number one, I watched the whole skit. It wasn't that long. It was like a couple minutes. It was so unfunny. It's just one of those things where it was so painfully unfunny and stupid and kind of just like unoriginal to go after kids. How happy I am to be childless. Number one, I don't know who's going after the children. Who's going after people with kids all of a sudden? Is this Is this a segment of the population that that people with children are attacking people without children and their lifestyles? Or is it people that are so embittered that they don't have kids, right? And Chelsea Handler, I always think it's kind of retroactive. Maybe it's by choice, but her putting this crazy video out saying how wonderful her life is, masturbating all day and doing drugs and sleeping and all this other stuff, which, by the way, trust me as a parent, you can still masturbate, travel, you can do drugs at the right moments. Trust me, all these things are still in your capability house. But it's like one of those things where they have to talk about it with this, like, look how happy I am, because at the end of the day, they really did want to have kids. And it didn't work out for whatever reason. And now it's like, I have to get my ego. I'm building armor around my ego by making this into a bit. Like, that's my take on it.
Yeah. Like what I would say about it first is, there's kind of like two sides to it, because there is a side, like you said, there are legitimately, couples, women, who cannot have kids, who cannot conceive. And, there's a lot of people like that. It seems like more and more, as time goes on with, probably and whatnot. So, of course, sensitive to that. I don't want to make fun of, anyone who's not able to have children.
Of course not.
But the problem that I have is like this glorification of this single lifestyle of, being perpetually single. There was on Twitter, I saw a video of, it's probably taken from TikTok or something, of some chick, dancing in her, a very nice living room, to some song about being rich and, always being that bitch who's, going to be in the club and never have kids. Like, that's kind of cringe. I mean, I don't want to think about like, some 45-year-old woman in a club, trying to live it up. It's not necessarily the ideal lifestyle. We do age. You can't really live that life forever. And I feel sad for people like that, because they've been sold, like, by corporate America. A lot of women have been sold this bill of bullshit that, you should put your career ahead of finding a spouse, of having a family. Not to say you can't do both. You can do both, of course. A lot of people do. But to say, like, you should not do the other thing. You should not have children because having a career is so much better.
Right. Well, and of course the corporations want that if you believe in the wage gap, which I do not, because you can pay the women less. So of course they want these women out, not having kids and in the workforce. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, no, there's definitely something to be said for that, and I do agree with you that there's a full-fledged attack on families, on the family lifestyle of the nuclear family, on keeping families together, on like the emphasis is on divorce, live your life, be happy at all costs. The problem is that, and like you said, there's people that can't have kids. I feel terrible for those people. There's people that shouldn't have kids. I mean, look, there are people, Chelsea Handler probably shouldn't have a kid. Let's be honest. Probably shouldn't. There's people out there that are not made to be parents. They're not built for it. They're either it's just not in their DNA. They have no interest in it, in which case you probably shouldn't have a kid. There's too many people out there that have a ton of kids that they have no interest in. That's clearly another issue. But, still, there's so much that these people seem to like deride. And that's the thing that really annoyed me about it, is the derision to people that have kids. Like, again, as though we're missing out on something. When the truth is, having a kid was the most rewarding thing I've ever done by far. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
That's horrible. And I was telling you how, as horrible as it is, like, my kid's home sick today, my baby, and she kept me up all goddamn night. It was terrible, but it's still one of the most rewarding things. So it's just, like I said, it's utter cringe when you see this. And especially, I don't mind, anything can be funny. If you have a great bit about being single and not wanting kids and hating people that have kids, like I used to tell jokes before I had kids, that my favorite gift to give people when they had a stupid child's birthday that the kid's not going to remember is just to give them a box of crows. Because it's the most horrible, annoying, loud thing. And this is vengeance for me having to deal with your children, which are these horrible, loud, annoying things. Now I have kids. Give me all the boxes of crows. I deserve it. But at least I'm trying to be legitimately funny instead of just, I don't know, cringy.
Well, since this is Meme Wars, I have a meme related to this that I found.
Lay it on me.
I don't know if you saw this one. But so this is posted by AP for Liberty, Austin Peterson, friend of the show. And I don't know what this picture's from. What movie or
I
any
have
idea?
no idea. I kind of recognize the actress, but I can't think of what it is. It's the ugliest face on a woman, and she's an actress that, God, what is she from? I just can't think. But she basically looks like she's, I don't know, a demon, like a sweaty.
Yeah.
A sweaty crying demon.
Methed out demon with frizzy hair, up all night or up for a week on a bender, and it says on the top, Chelsea Handler convincing you she's happy after masturbating for the 7th time today.
Yeah.
This really,
so
really
good.
sums up what we talked about here. So
It truly does. Now I've got one. Let me bring up my little meme here. I have a few. The first one I'll do is based around. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll do a different one first. This is a story that's been going through. It's not even really a meme, but it reminds me of the transition from not having children and uber feminism and all that other shit to the outrage that is now going through the femsphere and the woke sphere because Tiger Woods had the gall to make a quote unquote sexist joke at whatever golf tournament's going on. And I don't know if you've seen this or not yet, but he outdrove another pro player, Justin Thomas, who is, much younger, stronger now. He wins a ton of tournaments, and Tiger outdrove him on one hole. And very subtly, he didn't announce it, he didn't stop the tournament, but very subtly, he handed Justin Thomas a Tampax tampon as they walked down the fairway. Having a little fun. I didn't think Tiger had it in him to be entertaining.
Well, if you know like the backstories, obviously Tiger Woods, he's a dog, man. I mean, he was not that
for sure.
He's this great guy, but he was cheating on his wife back in the day. He's a guy that likes to have fun with the boys. He's a golfer. Yeah. Most golfers have that personality, and I just think it's great that he planned this ahead of time. He had this in his bag, and he's probably feeling good, been hitting the ball well. He's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to outdrive this SOB and hand him a tampon. I think it's fantastic, and I've always liked Tiger, and I don't think, he's not going to be as good as he ever was after that car crash, but I think he's got some wins left in him for sure. I mean, if everything hits right, if it's the right course, he can definitely win some tournaments.
Yeah, he'll pull one out. So anyway, that was my first meme. Story.
All right, so let's switch topics here. I didn't want to rant a little bit about this whole train derailment fiasco in East Palestine, Ohio. The thing that there's a lot of things that I hate about it. Number one is I'm about 40 miles from the site. Based on
really? I didn't know you were that close to it. Damn.
Yeah, so it happened right on the border of Ohio and Pennsylvania. So it's like almost directly halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And like really where our drinking water would come from. So if it was like just contained to Palestine, Ohio, like the way that it would flow, probably our drinking water wouldn't be affected by it, except since they burned this, massive amount of vinyl chloride. It went up into the air, and then it's been raining, the past couple of days. Who knows where the crap all this stuff is that's come down. So all of the water could be contaminated. Yeah. So it's not a good situation. And the thing that annoys me about it is when it first happened, train derailments happen all the time. I was like, oh, a train derailment. Who cares about this? Like, this happens all the time. So I didn't pay attention to it. I really didn't even pay attention to it until they started burning it. And then that's when I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Then I saw pictures of what the burn looked like. Then you start hearing reports of, local people there who just what's great about, today's media, Twitter, Instagram, people just put up videos. Look at all these dead fish. Look what happens when I scrape the bottom of this stream and all this rainbow of chemicals comes up. It's like, holy shit, that's not good. Or people's chickens dying, showing video from their Ring camera the night before. The chickens are fine. Next morning, they're all just dead. It's like, wow, that's not good. And then you have, so I'm bringing attention to this on my Facebook and on Twitter and, all the social medias. And you have libertarians like, well, actually, John, this happened on February 4th.
I know.
This happened a long time ago. And did you know that there's a train derailment every 3 days in the United States? It's like, what? Shut up, dude. Shut up. Are you kidding me? This is not the same situation. Just look at the circumstances surrounding this.
Right.
And it just annoys the crap out of me, man.
I am 100% with you. There's a lot of the actually, push the glasses up on the board. I tweeted out a very funny tweet earlier that somebody pissed me off responding to. Just on that topic. I had tweeted out saying, the average IQ is dropping in the world. Do you guys think it's because millions of socialists haven't died out any time in the last few years due to them trying to run a government? And, a good little joke, right? Kind of funny, just goofy little fun joke making fun of socialism and how it always ends up in millions of people dying and how dumb people believe in socialism. So, of course, somebody goes, actually, the mean or the average IQ is always 100 by design. It's like, okay, jerk off. Yeah, I get they readjust the average IQ to 100 like every few years, right? That's what they do with it. But that's not the point I'm making. But it's like, actually... Anyway.
I thought you were going to say, well, actually, Brian, that was communism. That wasn't socialism.
Yeah, right.
Between communism and socialism.
Well, there's also something like Fabian Liberty and tweet out. He's like, well, actually, a lot of the people that believe in socialism probably have higher IQs. And I'm like, well, might be true, but shut the fuck up, I'm making a joke here. So, anywho, getting back to your point, yeah, man, this is bonkers to me, and yeah, it is an absolute tragedy. The fact that it happened so many days ago and we haven't heard shit about it until recently, when these videos started to leak out from people. And also, let's not forget, they were arresting journalists on the site when it happened. There's video of them taking people away in handcuffs and arresting journalists trying to cover the story.
They arrested one journalist for sure, but his charges were dropped. But yeah, at the time,
well, it still chilled the story, right? I mean,
if you do look back, yes, there was like standard coverage, like train derailment occurs, in Ohio, and I saw those headlines, or There was the thing that gets me. It went from, so the train derails, like 2 days later, they're like, we're worried that the one rail car is going to explode. So, we're making it, whatever they did to release the pressure so it wouldn't explode, they evacuate around it. I'm like, and they said in that article, they were like, what we want to prevent is all of this catching on fire and releasing all of this stuff into the atmosphere. And then like 2 days later, no mention of that previous thing. They're like, well, we have started and everything is going splendidly well with lighting this all on fire and putting all of these chemicals into the atmosphere. Like, wait a minute here. How did we change from we don't want this to happen to this is perfect scenario of how to remedy this chemical spill?
That is exactly what I was thinking, because I read the same story. It said they were worried that they might explode, and you're like, okay, well, the worst case scenario is then that they explode and they catch on fire. You've enabled the worst case scenario. Well, there's got to be other options. There's got to be options to bury it or to come in there and cover it with foam, toxic absorbing shit that'll break down the chemicals. Let it out, let it break down. Like, there's ways that have to exist other than setting it on fire and causing an ecological disaster that may have, God knows the fallout for people that live in the community. People refer to it as a possible Chernobyl situation. Maybe.
There's never been a spill of vinyl chloride to this magnitude. And if you do read about like how do you dispose of vinyl chloride, it is by incineration. So that is the way you're supposed to dispose of it. But this amount of vinyl chloride has never been incinerated and put up into the atmosphere in a 2-day period. So
I would also just think there's got to be ways that you could, there's got to be ways that people could have figured out to capture some of what's being burned. You've got, all right, I know it's a big fire. You've got this big area, you're burning it up, but there's got to be some way that you can suck some of that smoke in and try to capture it and filter it out of the air in real time. I refuse to believe that doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, then why don't we invent it? Because it doesn't seem like it'd be that fucking hard to have a vent, just like the ones that exist in HVACs all around the goddamn world that could suck this in, filter it out, and blow out air to at least stop some of that noxious fumes from getting out in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, I think the bottom line was you had a rail line that was not operating, and probably this Norfolk Southern probably went to the government and said, well, if we don't open this rail line, it's going to disrupt the supply chain and people will starve and blah 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 blah. And then the government says, okay, go ahead and burn this all off.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just making that up. Who knows what happened? But that's likely could have happened. But I'll tell you this: if we had a different leader in Ohio, things would be very, very different for that town and for the United States. And I'll show you a meme that explains exactly what I'm talking about.
Are we electing Rico finally?
So this is a great meme. I just saw this today. It says at the top, Ohio's governor, after Biden denied his request for disaster assistance, and you have DeWine with the face of Vladimir Zelensky just pasted over him. And if we just had Vladimir as governor of Ohio, it'd be swimming in hundreds of billions of dollars right now.
Easily. Somebody had asked if didn't a train derail in Michigan? I don't know. I didn't hear about one in Michigan. I heard about Arizona.
There's one about Houston or Texas.
Yeah, Texas. I heard about a chemical-filled truck falling over. And then
Florida, there's a plastics plant like 5 acres that are burning right now in Florida.
Yep. So and this is funny that so Stephen Fox, who's a subscriber and fan of the show, he had shared on this meme, which explains it all, because now we're seeing more UFOs go reported. Every time a classified document is found, a UFO gets its wings. And I say on the same note, every time now there's going to be anything going on, let's derail a train. Bring out the mass shooters. Release them from the dens we've been drugging them up in. We got to get some distractions out in the media, guys. Inflation went up again by 0.7%, guys. Let's get some trains set on fire, please.
Hey, speaking of mass shooting, I don't want to make light of this because it's a tragedy. 3 people died in that shooting in Michigan State, and I think 5 or 6 more were critically wounded. Yeah. But have you heard anything about that shooting? I haven't seen much in the news recently, and I think because it was a black guy, an African American, and it was a handgun. So you've heard nothing about it.
Oh, and there's more. But wait, there's more. It was black guy. I believe you're right with the handgun. And third part, he was released from. He actually had a felony weapons charge, which was dismissed by a judge under racial equity. The guy's a racial equity.
Really? Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, because, why there's too many black men in prison. And I'm not saying that there aren't too many black men in prison. I think there are too many black men in prison. But I think if you have a felony weapons charge, probably shouldn't just dismiss that and let somebody go, because really the guy, and I don't think the gun laws work anyway, but he shouldn't have been able to have a gun. He should have been probably in prison, meaning this wouldn't have happened to begin with. But no, got to dismiss that because race.
I to circle back to the Ohio chemical spill, I do have one more I got to share. So I don't know where this picture is from. But the picture in the foreground, but you have Greta Thunberg on a train. It looks like eating some I don't know. It looks like some hummus or something.
Yeah, hummus
and in the background
bananas.
Through the window, you can just see the huge black smoke cloud of from the Ohio spill.
Right.
Captures it very well what we're looking at.
It does. Well, hey, perfect. Speaking of hypocrisies, I greatly enjoy. This is from Sal the Agorist, who's been on the show before. Sal the Agorist had shared a pretty funny meme, and I don't know if it's his or not, but I'll say that it was his, showing Occupy Democrats. And, of course, anytime there's gun ownership or a mass shooting, they always tweet out this shit. So it says, no civilian needs an AR-15, regardless of whatever mental gymnastics you do. You are a very special breed of stupid. And then, of course, you go down to back to February 2024, and Occupy Democrats post, breaking. Ukraine's interior minister announces that 10,000 automatic rifles have been handed out to the civilians of Kyiv as they prepare to fight tooth and nail to defend their homes against Putin's invasion. Retweet if you stand with the brave Ukrainian people. So.
Automatic rifles, not even semi-auto. I don't know if that's true.
Not even semis. I got that wrong. Give them the full autos. And I have one more that has to do with nothing. That's just funny. So
me too. I have one more that just makes me laugh so hard when I read it. Let me find this. Where the hell did it go?
It wouldn't be a show without you not finding
it wouldn't be.
Memes.
Well, here it is. This just makes me laugh so much. So there's a picture of a redneck looking guy with a big smile on his face wearing a wife beater. And it says at the top, criminal caught after cutting off 37 man buns in one day. Claims he was doing the Lord's work.
Where do you think he was? That's my question. Where did this happen? I need the details of where all these man buns were. Was he in Seattle? Was he in Silicon
I was going to
Valley?
say it's got to be Portland or Seattle. I mean, are there
Yeah.
a lot of man buns in L.A.? I mean, probably. I would assume.
You know what? There used to be a ton of man buns in LA. Now that's kind of gone away. About 2 years ago, it was Man Bun Central, or that people wearing those stupid beanies all the time to cover like long hair. Mark Claire, notable man bun, man,
Notable man bunner.
man bunner. The Man Bunning Man. We should have a new Schwarzenegger movie about this guy. It's called The Man Bunner Man, and it's the Running Man meets Man Buns, where you have these guys trying to run from this scissor wielding criminal, and they have to get out of a maze just like the real Running Man before he cuts their ponytail off.
Yeah, he doesn't kill him.
I'd watch it.
Takes off the man bun.
Just the man bun. Yeah, I'd watch that. Okay, my last one here. This just cracked me up. Instant karma is what I will term this. You've probably seen this because it's going around like wildfire, but I will play it here. Basically, it starts out with some chick. I'm going to presume that she's a hillbilly, and I'm shailing this just from Fails RX, but it's everywhere. So this chick's running away. There's a microwave in the middle of the street, and she's put fireworks in it, and she is now running away.
Dick.
Pow!
Oh my God!
One more time.
Oh my God!
One more time. Come on, Dick.
Come on, Dick. Oh my God, are you okay?
Oh my God, are you okay?
The timing of yelling at the microwave and the fireworks to hurry up, because you don't have all day to blow this microwave up, and then the back of the microwave flies off and hits the person that yells "Come on, Dick" directly in the phone
doesn't.
/
No,
face.
it hits the person filming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, filming.
Who's
Yeah, holding
standing
the camera.
next to the lady who set off the fireworks and yelled, "Come on, Dick!" And then she says, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
I mean, you can't sniper somebody better than this shot. And this thing, considering like the shape of the microwave back, I mean, it went dead straight. They should make bullets out of microwave backs.
Big. I don't know what piece that is coming out of the microwave, but that is a heavy piece. That must be an old microwave.
And the phone, it reminds me of Ghostbusters. And the flowers are still standing. And the phone did not crack. That's good. I want to find out what kind of phone she has. Didn't even crack. All right. Well, good memeing. Good memeing today. Good little ranting, little memeing. A richer, fuller show today.
I like it. And we tied things together very nicely, I think.
We did. And thanks again to Burn in Daylight for our first super chat donation ever in the history of Lions of Liberty. I'm sure we'll be demonetized again tomorrow, but at least we got one super chat donation. So guys, check out Burn in Daylight podcast. Great pod for Matt McKinley.
And subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't. Hit that little notification thing so you get notifications as well.
Yes, please.
All right. See you next week.
Adios.